I was talking with him a little bit earlier, and I said, I really see him as a visionary. And the way that he described the way that he gets his ideas is actually through a higher power. He prays, he asks for guidance, and ideas come through him. And some great ideas have come through him. He has over 130 patents. He's done all sorts of inventions that have helped humankind. And most recently, the past 15 years, I think it is, maybe a little bit longer, I'm not sure, David, but he has been the CEO and founder of a company called LifeWave. And I was so inspired when I heard about what they offer that I just ordered their products about 2 or 3 days ago, and I can't wait to try them. A friend somebody who really has a huge heart and he serves humanity. And so I bought the product, David, and I want to introduce everyone to David Schmidt, the CEO and founder of LifeWave. And David, let's have some fun. I want to learn more about you, and I want to learn more about the amazing products and benefits that the products offer to people. So welcome to our Global Energy Healing Summit.
Thank you, Tom. Great to be here, and thank you for inviting me. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and, of course, your audience.
Yeah. So one thing that really impresses me already, obviously, is your humility. You're not saying I did this. You're saying that these ideas come through me. And I think when we commit to helping humankind and ask for assistance, I think great ideas do come through us. How did you learn that concept, or how did you discover that concept?
I was raised as a Catholic, so hopefully nobody holds that against me. And
I was raised as a Catholic too. Yeah.
I had a very traditional Catholic upbringing, and went to a Christian high school where I got a formal education there.
Yeah.
However, when I was about 12, 13 years old, I had an opportunity to join a non-denominational prayer group. Mm-hmm. And it was then that I really started to develop, say, a relationship with God through daily prayer. And I've had a number of what I'd say are extraordinary experiences in my life, a number of them that have been, I would say, divine intervention in saving my life.
Wow.
And so I would give all credit and glory to God. And so in my work life, I would say this has definitely been a process where I used to think I was a really good inventor. But then I realized that this information was being downloaded, and I was being insights by God. And so I'd rather give God credit than take the credit myself. And after all, we're all here to help make the world a better place and offer healing and support where we can.
Absolutely. And that's such a great insight. I think when we think that it's all us, even in the healing of our bodies, we think, okay, it's all me. You kind of cut off a source of energy, a source of greatness that is available to you. So I love how everything that you've done has been guided by that principle of really calling in help and, from divine guidance. So that is so beautiful. So let's talk about LifeWave, the product of that inspiration. So I know it was started, I think, quite a while ago. What year did you start?
Well, I had a business in the 1990s with 4 other guys, and we were developing new technologies for the United States military through government contractors. And principally, we were working with contractors that did work for the Navy. So these were companies like General Dynamics, new shipbuilding, and the electric boat division of General Dynamics. And so this was equipment that was going to be going on submarines. And I had developed a number of pieces of technology, one of which was not supposed to work, but it worked really well. And so I had one of the engineers there that led up Black Projects who invited me to come and take a look at one of the Navy's next generation mini subs. And at that time, a mini sub for the Navy was about 60 feet long, and the crew were Navy SEALs. So I was asked to see what we could do to improve survivability of the crew. And it was at that time I thought, well, instead of giving these guys amphetamines and caffeine and keeping them awake for missions over 30 hours, why don't we take a new approach? What if we had a way to improve their energy without having to resort to drugs or stimulants? And that was really the genesis of LifeWave.
Wow, that's amazing. And when I first heard about LifeWave and the patch, I thought it was something different. And you had to educate me. It really is the impact of light, on our body. And so, can you talk to us a little bit about how? I mean, we're taking in light all the time, anyways, right? And it's so critical that we have light, and then our bodies are light. I mean, at some level, they're energy, they're light, right? They're electrical. So Talk us through how you came to see a therapeutic use that can be so easily applied. And I love all the different things that it's been able to do. Like I was just looking at a study that was done by a doctor, Dr. Melinda Connor, where people wearing these patches that are emitting light, right? Energy, and this is the Energy Healing Summit, so this is a cool way to get it. But 17 amino acid changes at significance end of the week, a reduction in blood pressure at significance, improved quality of sleep, increased vitality, improved short-term memory. Come on, talk us through how all these things can happen. This is amazing.
So if we went back, let's say 15 years, 20 years, light therapy was actually considered quackery in the public scientific arena. And it was the work of researchers such as Michael Hamblin at Harvard, who's now has over 400 published studies. There's more than 5,000 published studies out in peer review that have documented and substantiated the biochemical mechanisms by which light therapy works. So in other words, today, there is a very solid understanding of when you stimulate the skin with very specific wavelengths of light, it will trigger a very specific chain of biochemical reactions within the cell. The most important one is that we could use wavelengths of light in the far infrared and in a very narrow band of the visible spectra and increase production of the enzyme cytochrome C oxidase. Cytochrome C oxidase is part of the electron transport chain, and importantly, it influences the Krebs cycle. In other words, the amount of energy that the cells can produce.
Wow, yeah.
So this very first device that I invented back in 2002 stimulates the skin with very low levels of light in a passive manner as opposed to an active device. It's actually a nanotechnology optical array at the molecular level that's activated by body heat. But in simple terms, the device stimulates the skin with very low levels of light and a band of wavelengths. And this in turn elevates cytochrome C oxidase. It turns on beta oxidation. And within about 20 minutes, over 20% of the energy that you're getting is from burning fat.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
that was my original work.
Yeah. And so that was obviously helping with weight loss and things like that too, right?
Yeah, we don't make that claim because we don't want people to think just put the patch on and you don't have to diet or
whatever you want, yeah. But it helps
Right.
burn fat, right? Within 20 minutes, you're saying, yeah, it's burning fat, which is really, really cool. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, we did an early study with technology called indirect calorimetry, and actually just wearing the patches burns over 300 calories per day. So it's a significant amount. And so if people use a sensible diet, they use techniques such as intermittent fasting or ketogenic diets, they exercise regularly, definitely it can help to reshape body mass index.
How does it help with sleep? And I know that people have reported it helps with pain. How does it impact, and a lot of people listening right now, they don't sleep well, which is one of the most important things you can do to heal your body, to stay healthy, to be vibrant. How does it help with sleep? How does light help with sleep? And then the way that you're using it, which by the way, I really love. It's subtle energy, right? You don't need to be blasted with light. The subtle energy, everyone tends to overdo things, but subtle energy is so powerful because it's creating manageable change within the body, right? It's not like overwhelming the body where the body goes into fight or flight.
Right.
But so sleep, pain, memory, how does it impact those things? And then I want to get to stem cells too, because that's really something I'm interested in.
Sure. So I guess what would be important for people to know is that what we're doing is tapping into a code, which probably resonates with you, that people are already using. It's the way that human beings were created. It's the way that we were designed, is that the cells in the body emit light. And this was validated by Dr. Fritz Popp in Germany decades ago. And the simple way to prove this is you take human cells, animal cells, even plant cells, you put them in a room that's completely dark, and you use what's called a photomultiplier tube, and you can measure highly coherent laser-like pulses of light being emitted by living tissue. And these pulses of light come from the DNA, and they're instructional codes. So in biological systems, you don't find anything that's ever an accident. You don't find something there that's not supposed to be there. So there's no such thing as junk DNA, right?
Yeah.
It's a total misnomer. And it's when a scientist makes an observation like that and says, well, this is just junk DNA, it doesn't do anything. Really, it's our misunderstanding of why that structure is there, and we have yet to unfold that mystery. But in the case of light, light will initiate biochemical processes within the cell. It's referred to as signal induction and signal transduction. But it simply means that if you can tap into this code, you can turn on a specific biochemical process that might decline with age. So
Wow.
if you want to use sleep as an example, we know that our hormones decline with age. And this is going to have a negative impact on things like our body mass, the amount of muscle mass we have, bone density, in this case, our ability to sleep. So the first way that we tackled this, and then we later found other ways to tackle it because we have multiple products, was just simply to create a product that would elevate the body's production of melatonin.
Oh, cool.
And that was the first way that we went about it. So instead of having to take a melatonin supplement and get an exogenous source of this hormone, instead you apply the patch, stimulates the skin with light, and it triggers a natural increase.
You create more of your own. That's so cool. I love that. Wow. Yeah. And then what about with pain? Because that's something that I know a lot of people struggle with. How can we, putting on a patch, right? Now, again, the patch it's got information embedded in it, right? That comes in. So I like how you described it. It's a code. You figure out what the, certain codes are that elevate maybe melatonin or whatever we're trying to do, or maybe calm things down even with a code, right? But how can that help with pain?
Yeah. So first, pain, if we describe it in Eastern terms or Western terms, it would all be the same phenomena. We describe it as a blockage in the flow of energy, right? That would kind of be a very Eastern.
I love that. Yeah.
In Western terms, what we would say is that there's been a change in the impedance of the tissue, or there's an increase in tissue resistance, however you want to look at it. So if we use a specific example, let's say someone has an injury to their knee. What we can do is measure the tissue conductivity. We use a device called an electroacuoscope to do that. And so the knee is injured. There's an immediate increase in swelling, inflammation, and this causes a change in tissue conductivity. So now there's a resistance to the flow of bioelectrical energy flowing through the nervous system and through the meridians. Our brain will interpret that as pain. So instead of trying to mask the pain with a pharmaceutical, instead, what we want to do is reduce the inflammation and restore the natural flow of energy. So we found several ways of doing this. The first was with a product called Ice Wave. And in the case of knee pain, you apply the patches around the knee, 2 of them. And what it does is it causes a flow of energy, just like a battery, from a positive to a negative pole, except we're not using any batteries or active device. We're actually creating this polarity with light. And we can see 50 to 100% relief of pain in 2 to 3 minutes.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. Wow. That is so cool.
And later on, I found some ways to do this. We created a product called Eon. And what this product does, it acts like a broad spectrum anti-inflammatory. So it will reduce C-reactive proteins, inflammatory cytokines, and other inflammatory markers. And so people that have a chronic injury, like arthritis, Parkinson's, and MS, they're suffering with long-term injuries. They can help manage that pain with these products.
That is so cool. So cool. And, the thing that, lots of people are talking about over the past several years are stem cells. And I know that you have a product, and I just ordered the X38 and X39 patches, and I'm 62 years old. I still feel pretty young, but I know that as we age, our stem cells are not being produced at the same level that they were, or maybe I'm saying this wrong, but they're not as strong. Maybe there's we need help with them, and these patches help with that. Can you kind of take us through how that works too?
Sure. We began our stem cell research more than 10 years ago now.
Wow.
And invested about $4.5 million over that period of time, and it resulted in over 70 patents globally.
Wow.
And we did our work at the National University of Ireland in Galway at the Regenerative Medicine Institute, and it's one of the top stem cell centers in the world. And basically what I was looking to do was find a way where we could activate the stem cells that are already in our body as opposed to a stem cell injection. So the thinking here is that almost everybody in the stem cell community is thinking about injecting stem cells. And there's nothing wrong with that approach, but it's expensive and there are significant risks that come with it. But it's clearly going to be the future of medicine. So I went down a different path. I wanted to see, could we take the stem cells that are already in the body, leave them in the body, and then get them to function like younger, healthier cells? And this would be safe, it would be inexpensive, and it would be extremely convenient. So we ended up creating all different kinds of technology for doing this that worked. And the X39 patch came out of that program, and it's been an extraordinary success.
Well, that's so cool too, because you're right. It will be very, very difficult, especially at the current pricing models, for people to get stem cells. I mean, it's very, very expensive. And you're either getting stem cells from another, other human tissue, or the other way to do it is they take a needle and they go down into your bone marrow, and I hear it's excruciatingly painful, and then they extract that out and then put it into a spot where you might need them. This is so much better, right? I mean, it's so much easier, and it's affordable for people. The average person will not be able to spend, $8,000-$10,000 or more than that to go get stem cells, but you're making it affordable for people. I love too, I didn't know you had 70 patents just on that. That's pretty amazing. I love too, though, how you put your products to the test. Like, everything's research, studied, evidence-based. It's not just like somebody with an idea and then throwing it out there and, selling it and pumping it up, just because people will buy into pretty much anything today. You have the science behind it. How did you, I know that you're an inventor, you're a scientist, but that's always been really important for you, I bet, right?
Oh, it's extremely important because when I get up on stage in front of a group of people, and we can have pretty good sized meetings, and if people are asking, well, do you have any clinical studies to support the claims? We have to be able to say, well, here's the 10, 15, 20 studies that we have pointing to safety and efficacy. First of all, there's a legal burden, but then there's also an ethical burden. We want to know, and we need to know that our products are safe and that they're going to work. So when we say you put the patch on the body and it activates stem cells, we can show a chain of different clinical studies that will show the metabolic effects of the product and that prove the effects and the claims. So it's really important to me because it puts my reputation on the line, the company's reputation, and ultimately the company is either short-lived or long-lived, and it's all based on, can you prove what you have? And our company has grown over 10 times since the release of the product. So we've done something right.
Yeah, well, and you've been on the Inc. 5000 list at least 3 times that I've seen. So, this is the real deal. And you've got the Dr. Michael Karfelds of the world that are, some of the top practitioners out there that are not going to, they're not going to do something that they have not researched and that they believe in, and they're not going to offer something to their patients because they really are caring beings. These practitioners are not going to offer something to their patients that's false hope. This is stuff that really, really works. So for people listening, this is not a hard thing to do. You literally take a patch, you wear the patch, right? And there's different types of patches for what you need. Can you just describe some of we've talked about some of the things like stem cells, sleep, pain. I looked at your website, and I know there's so many different things. What are a couple other solutions that you're offering that we can just make people aware of so they really understand the full scope?
Sure. Well, we're trying to address as many different health conditions and staying within the confines of general wellness.
Yeah.
And we don't make medical claims.
Sure.
So we have products for improving energy, relieving pain. We've done a lot of work with improving athletic performance, supporting the health of the heart, quite a bit of work in cognition. That's probably a self-interest. I turned 60 this year, and because my
welcome to the club.
I've got a stake in wanting to keep my brain healthy for a long, long time. So we've spent quite a bit of work doing that. But by far, someone that's new to LifeWave, just getting started, they would start with X39. With that one product, it will improve energy in the body, activate the stem cells. It does help to manage inflammation. It will improve cognition. It will improve recovery after exercise, and do some other things that are pretty amazing. The most significant is what we refer to as youth renewal.
Okay. Awesome. I want that. Yeah. And I ordered X39 too. So I've got that coming to me on the way. I'm really excited about that. So how can people find these products? I know that tons of people right now are like, I want what he's talking about. How can they get them? And I know that you'll be reaching out to some people on the summit too, because you're one of our sponsors, and we want to make sure, and we're going to be reaching out to people, making sure that people know how to get them. But right now, if someone's like, I have to do this right now, where do they go?
Yeah, they go to lifewave.com, and they can check out our website and the products and order them there. Yeah.
And so what I did when I went there, I signed up as a preferred customer because that got me a discount. But I was able to order right off the website, and then the products are on the way to me, and I can't wait to try them. So it's as simple as that. What is your, I was going to say any final words, but what's your belief system about health and vitality and wellness? So you said there's no junk DNA, right? You've already told us that, but can people who are struggling right now, who have not felt well, maybe for some time, is there truly hope? I mean, I believe there is, but I'm just curious your philosophy on it. Like when you look at someone that maybe has been struggling and they're still looking for answers, what do you tell that person?
Yeah. Well, first of all, what I think doesn't matter. What does the science show? We talk a lot about science today in society, but really, what do clinical studies show? What's the practical reality of this? And the fact of the matter is that if people follow a holistic approach, there is so much that is possible in terms of recovery of health. But it really does take an overarching strategy. So what that means is if I was going to work with someone that, let's say, was 60 or 70 years old, what we would do is break everything down by really examining diet. Is this person getting enough protein, essential fatty acids? Are they getting their vitamins? What is their lifestyle like in this regard? Are they eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of sugars? You really want to examine the diet. Then you also want to look at exercise. When we eat in a certain way, when we exercise in a certain way, we're going to be turning on genes associated with health and longevity. So in the case of exercise, some studies will show you turn on 78 genes associated with youth and vitality. Wow. So if you're doing resistance training, could be something as simple as push-ups and air squats, or I love weightlifting. Every time you're participating in that activity, you're telling your body, hey, I want to stay young and healthy, right? So those are important. We already talked about the importance of sleep, hydration, staying away from things that aren't good for us. If we do all of those things, we're still going to age and we're still going to die. So this is an opportunity to build a strategy where that's the foundation. Then we add in technology like LifeWave so we can get results above and beyond what we might normally get with just diet and exercise. And this really comes down to epigenetics, the ability to turn on genes associated with you. So in the case of X39, the real power in this product is that it resets about 1/3 of the human genome to a more youthful state. Wow. So people that use the product, just within about 2 or 3 months, you can see that they actually look physically younger. There's a tightening of the skin. There's a reduction in the appearance of lines and wrinkles. There's more youthful energy. There's detoxification. We don't make claims about injury repair, wound repair, but those are some of the things that people see as a practical matter. And so yes, even people 60, 70, 80 can completely turn their lives around, but it does take a holistic approach. Yeah,
and I love it. Well, hey, listen, the thing that I can see very, very clearly, and I think everyone else can see, is you're not just a business person. You're a being with a heart, and you really come from your heart. It's one of the reasons I think you've been so successful, and your company's been so successful. Thank you so much for being with us, and I really encourage everybody to check out lifewave.com, just like I did, and I